Welcome back, tennis fans. Today, we're diving into the next chapter of an incredible career. U.S. tennis star Shelby Rogers has officially stepped into retirement. After years of dedication on the court, Shelby is now adjusting to life beyond professional tennis. What's next for her? How will she approach this new phase of life? Stick around as we explore her journey, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories from the world of tennis. On her very first day of the next chapter of her life, Shelby Rogers woke up to a text message from her sister. "Happy first day of retirement," it read. Rogers, 31, had officially finished her career at the U.S. Open, and the message was the first moment in which her decision felt real. It was pouring rain outside of her home in Florida. She and her husband had flown back from New York following her final loss in mixed doubles the day before, and she wouldn't have been able to go out to the practice court even if she wanted to. But she didn't go to the gym either, as she normally would. Instead, they picked up their dogs, who had been boarding while they were away, and returned home to their new reality that still didn't quite feel real. There's always that few days where you can recover and take off after a tournament, Rogers told ESPN later that day. So I feel like I'm still in that in-between period. But when my sister texted me, I was like, wait, what am I supposed to do? What does that even mean? I think the longer I go without practicing or playing a tournament, it'll feel a little more realistic. But for now, I'm excited. I'm happy. After 14 years on the tour, a career-high ranking of number 30, two major quarterfinals appearances, and a 2017 Billie Jean King Cup championship, as part of the American team, Rogers had known for much of the season that 2024 would be her last. She had torn her meniscus during the grass season in 2023, and despite her best efforts to return to full health, a slew of other injuries followed. As the ongoing physical struggles continued to mount, her joy for the sport lessened. Being on the tennis court no longer felt the same. She knew it was time. But while some players announced their impending retirement or undergo a farewell tour, Rogers wanted none of that. As a self-described, very emotional person, she knew having to formally say goodbye to every tournament she played would simply be too much. She decided the U.S. Open would be her final event, the place where she recorded one of the biggest wins of her life in 2021 against then number 1 Ashley Barty and reached the 2020 quarterfinals. But she wasn't even sure if she would share the news until after the tournament was over. I was honestly going back and forth debating whether I should just kind of quietly go by the wayside, but then I started to think about all the people that had supported me and been in my team behind the scenes, the tournaments, everyone, Rogers said. And I was like, well, I feel like I also want to share a moment with them and have a really public moment for all of the people that for decades have been a part of my career, fans included. So I was like, okay, the U.S. Open seems appropriate. And honestly, I'm really happy I did it. I couldn't have written it a better way if I wanted to. 3 days before the main draw got underway in New York, Rogers made the announcement on social media. It was quickly met by congratulatory words from fans and her peers alike. Coco Gauff commented on how much she would miss Rogers' spirit, kindness, and the sharing of her faith. Bethany Matek-Sand said she had embodied enjoying the ride. Madison Keys, Sloane Stevens, and countless others wrote how happy they were for her. In her final singles match, played under the lights on Arthur Ashe Stadium, Rogers played eventual finalist Jessica Pegula, someone who she had played against since their teenage years. Pegula, of course, won the match 6-4, 6-3, but together they stood on the court after the match and celebrated Rogers' career. A video was played on the board. Rogers was presented with a photo collage of moments from the tournament, and Pegula cried as she spoke about her longtime friend. But Rogers surprised even herself as she remained composed and made it through her own speech to the crowd without breaking down. I think that was the Lord's doing, honestly, because every other moment in my career, I've just been a ball of tears, and I can't explain that moment any other way, Rogers said. And I definitely didn't have on my bingo card that Jessie would be crying more than me, but it was really sweet. The next day, Rogers won her opening doubles match with partner Petra Martic, but they lost in the second round. Her final match came on the fifth day of the tournament in mixed doubles. Paired with Robert Galloway, her career officially reached its conclusion with a loss to the eventual champions Sara Errani and Andrea Vavasori. Rogers wished she had a few more wins during the tournament, but left New York with no regrets. She still isn't entirely sure what she will do next, but knows she wants to stay involved with the sport, whether through television commentary, working with youth tennis in her native Charleston, South Carolina, or something else, and was most looking forward to simply being at home. Not being in a different place every week sounds really exciting, Rogers said. Being home with my family, with my puppies, just having a set schedule for a decent amount of time. Always known as one of the friendliest players on tour, Rogers sometimes wonders what could have happened during her tennis career if she had a different demeanor. But looking back, she wouldn't change a thing. There's definitely a part of me that was like, oh, maybe if I was tougher and didn't have that nicest girl on tour reputation, maybe I would have won more matches, she said. But honestly, looking back, that's one of the most important things that I'll take away with me. I felt that I needed to get along with the other girls and make friendships and really understand some of their stories and where they were coming from and be able to be vulnerable because we see each other every week. For me to be able to enjoy it, I needed to be 100% myself. I couldn't be one person outside of the court and someone different in the locker room. So it was always